Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Polly Podcast. My name is Torkel Tenberg, and the written versions of these episodes can be found in the blog over at Pollyverse.com. So today's episode is the sixth episode. Sixth. I always had a hard time saying that word. Actually, I don't know if I've always had a hard time saying that word. It feels like I have in recent years. Sixth. Already 6 episodes. And it's the second last pre-written episode. So as I've been saying the last few weeks, we've been reading off the scripts basically on the blog at Pollyverse.com because I started the blog before the podcast basically. So I'm catching up, and this episode is the second last one of those. So then after next week, they're going to all be completely new episodes, new topics, interviews, book reviews, all sorts of things. And this one, though, is titled An Update on the Novel. So I remember when I wrote this blog post, it was about an update on the fiction novel that I talked about a couple episodes ago. And I was right in the midst of writing it at this stage. And I just needed to put out a blog post real quick just to have something, but I couldn't think of anything else other than what I was writing, the book. So that's what I did. And there isn't much that I wrote here, so I'm gonna free form just talk about it a little bit, and then I'm gonna share with you all another little reading from the novel. A section that's about halfway in. It's a section of dialogue between the brother and some of his friends, I believe, right after his brother has run away from the camp, on the first night of the camp too, and has no idea, what his little brother is going through. Well, he's just, at this stage, his little brother's just been locked up while the camp counselor guy goes to find the older brother to see where he's run off to. He's gone on a road trip, basically, to Calbarry with some friends to do some underage drinking. So that's what this section's about. It's a whole character dialogue section. And it's about an awkward interaction between the brother, he's called, and one of his friends, because he's had a kind of a crush on one of these friends, but she's dating the other friend at the moment. They're both older than him. He's trying to be cool and hang out with the older kids, and he has this tough exterior where he thinks that he doesn't care about much in life. He's sort of rebellious, and people have always told him that he's, a bad kid. So it's sort of like a self-fulfilling prophecy in that sense. And so he's not really emotionally open with his friend in particular, even though he likes her, and, her and his other friend are dating. So he's sort of getting some of that drunken jealousy type thing going on. So that's what this little chapter's about. Right before the camp counselor finds him. And see, how does it end? Oh yeah, it's right before the camp counselor finds him. So that's a little snippet, a little teaser into what happens next. But I liked writing this. It went really fast writing this chapter. Because, as I said before, most of the novel is in a narrator's perspective, in this sort of third-person type thing, referring to, the boy and the brother, and without calling them by their names and things like that, which is a lot of fun. But I'm a lot more used to doing these, characters actually speaking, quotation marks. I guess, is that first person? I don't even know. I'm bad with the technical terms for things like that, but I think it's first person, right? No, I think first person is when you're, yeah, it's when you're like, I was running down a hill and then I tripped over and fell. I think that's first person. So I don't know what this is, but I'm basically, having a dialogue between characters. And that goes really fast because I've always been an observational kind of person. I've always been pretty introverted. I started school in Australia before I knew English. So I think that added to that because I couldn't speak to anyone. I had to watch and listen and learn. And so I've sort of always been quite like that now. It's formed into my character. And I love observing interactions with that people have between each other, the little nuances in their voice and in their afflections and awkwardness. I love awkwardness and things like that. Just those little things in conversations, the way that they can go, and how normal some conversations can be, but then how normal they can seem, and how weird they they really are when you think about it, and trying to draw out that weirdness and emphasize certain parts of it and all that sort of thing. I really like doing that. And I like talking as other characters, using different words than I would use. There's a fair bit of slang in this, and a little bit of, I guess, slang brought upon by intoxication and things like that as well. And then I like just imagining being in the moment. Okay, what would a person say in this moment? Because to be honest, I've never drank much throughout my life. I've never had more than like 1 or 2 standard drinks within an hour. So I've never been drunk or anything like that. But I've watched a lot of people being drunk. So I like to imagine what it's like to be them, what they would say, what's going through their mind, what would the characters do. I guess it's a way of experiencing that without having to experience it, because I don't want to. So yeah, I think that's enough talking about it, to be honest. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. And I don't think I have a chapter. I don't think it's an official number chapter yet, but it's, I'd say, early on in the book, not quite halfway through though, if that works. It's a good pointer. It's a flashback, obviously, because the book starts with the boy already lost in the outback, and then throughout the chapters there will be chapters that are flashbacks, so it jumps back and forth between time, and you sort of have to get a grasp on what's going on. And I try to order the chapters in a way so that the flashbacks add to the emotions that the boy is going through and helps you to catch up on what he's actually going through as you're reading the story along. So anyway, that's a lot of talking about that. Let's just get into it. I haven't read this beforehand or anything. I'm just jumping straight into it before I go and do a workout outside. So I'm going to do some kind of character voices, but we'll see, because I can't remember who's even speaking in these. Hey! It is one of the brother's friends. She approaches from the road, heading deeper into the dark towards him. Hey! It hurts the brother's head a little that her image becomes less focused in his vision as she gets closer to him. What are you doing out here? She smiles at him, which he likes, and he feels grateful for the lack of light, because in his current messy state, the features of his less perfect face are not as obvious to her. Nothing, just going for a piss. He looks more tired than he should do after just snorting cocaine. He hides his face from her a little bit in his hoodie by not directly looking at her. His eyes look dead, but his brain is active, fighting against the effects of the alcohol. Have you got any more coke? Sorry, I'm going to read that again. Have you got any more coke? Stephen, I'm going to read that one more time, actually. It's throwing me off that there's a name listed in here. I'm not used to reading names. Have you got any more Coke? Stephen said he saw you take some. Yeah, sure. Here you go. I need a piss. He pulls out the Ziploc bag and hands it to her before heading towards the public toilets behind him again. Have you got some ciggies too? Yeah. He turns back around to her and hands her the whole pack and lighter. Thanks. She smiles at him again, and he feels nostalgic at the thoughts of that same smile when they had kissed in his room months ago. Do you like Stephen? He didn't expect to ask her this, but it became compulsive to do so in his inebriation. Yeah, he's fun. Why's that? She walks a few paces back to the swing that he was sitting on earlier and sits down so that she can dip her finger into the white powder like a packet of Whiz Fizz, rubbing it under her lips and into her gums like a makeshift teeth brushing routine. Nah, no reason. Do you like me? Each time that he asks another question, he is annoyed that he has done so, wishing that he had some control over his speech to her. Of course I like you. You're cool. Is this because of your house last month? She seems a bit annoyed too now, as she tries to light up a cigarette with the poor quality lighter. They are a little too far apart now to comfortably communicate, so they have both raised their voices a little in the night. Kinda. I don't know. Don't worry. He shies away now, slowly turning back around to go to the toilets. Come on, Matt. You're too drunk. You're hot, but we're friends. And you're seeing heaps of girls your own age. She takes a full drag of the cigarette and swings gently as he walks away with his head down and his hands in the pocket of his hoodie. Yeah, I know. Forget it. So there you have it. It's a little section from the novel once again. There will surely be many more that I will read out on episodes in the future as I get back into writing chapters and things like that. And that's all I have for you this week. It's a short little episode. I'll give you a teaser on next week's one, the final blog post, and then I'm actually going to have to write some new episodes for the podcast and blog. So next week's one is about another book. Another one, as DJ Khaled would say. When I had a break from writing the horror fiction novel in the last few months, I came up with another book. So, and yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. It's a book of poetry and things like that. There you go. So we're going to talk about that next episode. So, thank you for coming by. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.